night owls. Welcome to another episode of Nocturnal Thoughts. I am your host, Nocturnal. What's happening? Peace, 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 peace. Together we stand, divided we fall. Today's episode is going to be anti-bullying. This is the third episode. And I want to come to you today with the few strategies, a few tactics, some things for you to think about. And I'm gonna get straight to the point. One of my first tips that I want to give to anybody out here that's listening is inspired by none other than Kenny Rogers. He had a song, great song. I think one of his most famous songs was a poker song, and the chorus was, "You have to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run." And just to break that down a little bit, when it comes to defending yourself, you got to know when to stand your guard. You got to know when to, put down your guard. You got to know when to walk away from a situation, and you got to know when to run away from a situation. Also, the thing about a master poker player is that he knows how to fold even when he's holding a great hand. He could have a royal flush, and he will fold on that just so that he's throwing his competitors off, where they're not able to always gauge him, or they're not always able to identify when he's bluffing. If you're bluffing on weak hands and you're folding on weak hands, if you're folding on strong hands and also bluffing on strong hands, you will develop a way to expel or to throw off your telltale signs, your signals, or your facial expressions, or your tics, or whatever it might be, whatever expression that people can pick up on. You will be able to camouflage them if you learn how to master and manipulate your people you're playing against. So every once in a while, when you have a great hand, when you can clean up and win, strategically, you still have to learn how to fold on that hand and let somebody that has a weaker hand beat you, so that in their mind, they can't read when you have a strong hand or when you have a weak hand. And how can you parlay that into a bullying situation? My thing is this: when most people that get bullied for one or two reasons. Either, and they go hand in hand, either they're smaller and they're weaker, or they're just more cerebral and more intelligent, meaning that they're smart, their gifts are in their intelligence, not in their physical strength. So they're, labeled as nerds. So I just want to talk to the smaller guys. Excuse me. I want to talk to the smaller guys, and I want to talk to the smart guys, the nerds, and anybody in the middle, and give you guys a few tactics, strategies, and just something to think about. You never want people to know how strong you are are how smart you are. If you're very, very intelligent, if you are a genius, it would behoove you sometimes. It would be a intelligent thing for you to do, to learn how to dumb it down just a little bit. In order, one thing I always think of is people that are very high intelligently are people that are geniuses. They tend to be socially awkward. They have a perspective and an outlook on life that usually doesn't conform to their peer groups or society. So you got this hexagon, three-dimensional mentality, and you're trying to fit in the circle peg with everybody else. And because your dimensions are too advanced, they label you as a square. And people just tend to isolate and to crucify anything that's a little bit different. But the good thing about that is a smart person can camouflage and can dumb themselves down. A dumb person can't but pretend for so long to be smart. If you are intelligent, you can play dumb. If you're legitimately a dummy, you can't play smart, but for so long. Which brings me to another point. If you're a strong person, you can play weak. A weak person can only for so long pretend to be strong. So if you are a smaller guy, but you're working on your physical, you are getting stronger, a wise thing for you to do would be to remain to be perceived as weak. Let people underestimate you. Let them underestimate you mentally and physically. You never want people to be able to size you up correctly. That's how you stay on your square. When you know yourself, you've been doing your self-improvement. When you've been doing the things that you need to do to be a smarter person and a stronger person, that's something that you need to protect and keep it to yourself. Don't let everybody in on your improvement. And just quick side note, all you young guys out here that have dreams and plans and goals, right now, while they're in their beginning stages, this is the time when they are in their most vulnerable state, when they're in an infantry state, when they're still in the egg, when they're still going through a maturity. That's when you're most vulnerable. So any plans, any ideas, any things and projects that you're working on in the beginning stages, that's when you want to guard them, protect them the most. When they're in their infant, baby stages, because that's when they're vulnerable. That's when the predators will most likely come and try to devour anything you have positive going on. Is when it's in the beginning stages, they try to come snuff it out. So protect that and guard it. So if you're working on your mental, if you're becoming smart, keep that on the down low. You know, you being a genius is nobody's business. It's your parents, your teachers, and your business. That's it. Nobody else needs to know that you are highly intellectual. You don't need to be labeled as a nerd. If you're very smart, you can keep that to yourself. And a few tips on how to do that is keep your mouth shut. Sometimes nerds get labeled as nerds because they try to use their intelligence as a way to be popular. They have to raise their hand and answer every question, and it comes off as a brown nosing, I'm smarter than you type of thing. And just a word of advice is, look, you don't have to always answer questions just because you know the answer. Sometimes you can sit on your intelligence, and sometimes you could look, I don't know. You can be like, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. That way people around you would think you might just be, and I'm not telling you to be dumb by any means necessary. Always elevate your intelligence. But I'm saying this, guard your intelligence too. Protect your intelligence. And learn how to use your intelligence to your benefit. Sometimes you can answer a question wrong on purpose. No, you know the correct answer, but you can put out an incorrect answer just to throw people off. If you master how to do that, if you master how to manipulate your own intelligence to your benefit as you grow and mature, then you will be a more complete person. You will know how to socially navigate through all different types of situations that you're going to go through in life, including getting bullied. If you can outsmart the bully, you don't always have to be more physical than him. When it comes to the physical, if you are naturally a smaller person, bear with me one moment, please. Caffeine, you gotta keep the beast going. All right. If you are a naturally smaller person, I'm gonna tell you what, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. That is true to a certain extent. But I would recommend, as you grow and get older, if it's possible, the first thing you want to do is let your parents know that you want to learn how to defend yourself. Don't put yourself in no karate class. Get into some boxing. Learn how to throw your hands. That's number one. When it comes to defending yourself, the first thing you have to do, is learn how to throw your hands as a boxer. So if you can go somewhere and sign up to learn just how to do the basic footwork, jab, create distance, uppercuts, and etc. Learn how to box. Quick little story for me, how I learned how to throw my hands. In my neighborhood, like I said, I grew up in Atlanta, grew up off of Cameron Road on Tilson. The whole neighborhood would come over to my house, and we would be down in my basement, and this was like Fight Club. And this was before that. This was way before we knew anything about Brad Pitt and Ed Norton. We would make boxing gloves out of anything. We would take like a bunch of plastic and tape it around our hands and make these gloves. And the whole neighborhood, there'd be 15 boys down in my basement. Our basement was all concrete. And we would be down there basically pairing up by size and by age. And then we would throw them things. We would throw our hands. And it got bloody sometimes. I mean, my brother, my brother was knocking them out. And another way I learned how to in wrestling is the second thing I would say do. First boxing, and then wrestling. And then as you get older, and if it's something that you really enjoy doing, you can get into all the mixed martial arts and the whatever you want to do, jiu-jitsu and whatever. But if you know how to control your body weight and you know how to throw your hands, that's all you need to defend yourself. If you want to pursue something more professional, you need to learn other, how to kick and this, that, and the other. We're not going to get into that right now. but you definitely have to learn how to throw your hands. The sooner the better. And when you're learning how to throw your hands, this is my main point. When you're learning how to throw your hands, that's something that you can do in private. I like to watch prison documentaries, and it was this one guy. He was like he was a Mexican guy, and of course he was, penitentiary swole. But he said one of his main things is he never wanted to work out in the yard where everybody else were doing their pull-ups and push-ups and chest and all that. He said he saved all of his workout for when he was by himself in the cell, because he never wanted anybody else to know what he could do. And that's the same thing for like professional boxers and professional fighters. When they're getting ready for a big fight, their main thing is privacy. Their sessions are closed off to the public. And then when they do come into do like a little public display, they just do their little lightweight warm-up stuff, because you want to keep your opponent off guard. So if you got a bully that's bothering you at school, you don't advertise, I'm learning how to fight and I'm gonna come back and kick you. Don't do all that, because then they gonna you taking away the element of surprise. If you're learning how to defend yourself, do that in private. Take whatever little verbal abuse he's getting off of his chest. You take that and you use that as your motivation. You go back to your boxing class, or you go back to your basement, or you go back to your wherever you go, and you just keep working on your hands. You keep working on your hands, and the time will come, if the time comes, if he gets you in a position where you have to defend yourself, you will be ready, and he won't be. He will be under the influence that, his estimation of you will be under, and you will have the advantage. So, like I said, it is a wise thing for you to pretend to be the weaker, even if you're strong. One more example I wanted to display from Nocturnal, the way I think, and all my night owls out there that's tuning in. I just want to share my different philosophy and the way I think about things. A lot of times you have to learn how to camouflage, and an example of that in nature is your snakes. There are a lot of different species of snakes. Like for one I always remember growing up was the coral snake, where you tried to have to remember the color pattern, which one was venomous and which one wasn't. The rhyme was black and yellow, kill a fellow. Red on black is a friend of Jack. And that's the way you want to be. If you are in a situation where you have to survive, you don't want your enemy to know whether or not you're poisonous or dangerous. You want to be able to develop a camouflage where people cannot identify your weaknesses. They see your strengths only. They see you as a threat to a certain extent, but they don't know. And I'm gonna put a list of different snakes, because I didn't even know. You got a lot of venomous snakes and their lookalikes, which to me, that's just dope. The eastern and western diamondback rattlesnake, the crow snake, copperheads and corn snakes, cottonmouths, and red belly water snakes, different kind of rattlesnakes. I remember back in the South when we was little kids, man, we would just go and catch snakes, and I didn't care whether or not they was poisonous or not. But some of them, they just look poisonous. I would grab them anyway. But anyways, that's way off subject. But it just is, to me, a cool way of displaying my point, get my point across. When you are growing up and you are in an atmosphere that's surrounded with wannabe predators, you know, there are ways to avoid marking yourself as prey. And you want to learn, you want to be aware of your environment at all times. You want to be aware of your environment, and you want to be aware of the predators and the prey, and figure out where you lie. Which one are you? And you need to improve whatever you see that's lacking, or anything that you see that needs to be improved on. That's what you need to improve. If you are not smart, you need to work on your intelligence. If you are not strong and physically gifted, you still, within your ability, need to work on your physical strength. At the end of the day, this world will always be survival of the fittest. So you want to survive, you have to become fit in order to compete, and in order to withstand the pressures and the ills of the world. Period, point blank. And you can't be this weak, stupid guy or girl that's getting picked on or getting bullied, and then your solution to that is suicidal and extreme homicidal. I'm getting so tired of that, and I'm tired of the media too pumping it out there. But for a young girl to get picked on and teased to the point where she's committing suicide, for some young kid that either he's just a crazy bully with some mental issues and he's going and doing the whole trench coat mafia, whatever the case, and you want to shoot the whole school up. There's other ways in this world. There's other ways to you are better. People out here, you can be better than that. You know what I'm saying? So that's today's episode. I don't want to delve too deep into that, but I will get to that. I do want to get to my mentality behind the whole school shooting, but my approach on it would be, to me, really how to survive, because right now it's not a lot of things you can do that's going to just be so preventable. I'd rather you be more proactive than reactive. So, you know, I want to talk about like learning how to go to school and just having exit strategies. When you go to school, just be ready for something to pop off and be ready to break loose, break camp. Like, know where you can get out. Learn how not to get caught up into herds and stampedes. Learn how to be the first to get away from a bad situation. I want to get in. So that's what I want to get into down the line. But I want to come correct. I want to do some research, and I want to deliver something that's going to actually be beneficial if ever you find yourself in a situation that's extreme. I want to give my advice, and I want it to be good advice on how to come out of that unscathed, hopefully mentally as well as physically. So until the next time, I appreciate y'all for watching. Leave some comments, share some stories with me. Hit the like button. If you dislike it, do what you got to do. You know, I still say peace. I say together we stand. I say divided, it's going down. Hey, This is Nocturnal. Thank you for watching Nocturnal Thoughts.